Hello Year 4, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. Welcome to an English spelling, punctuation and grammar lesson. Now I want you to get your pencils and your exercise books out and write down the long date, Tuesday 9th of June 2020, and the LI to distinguish between formal and informal writing. Well done everyone. Now I hope you've all practiced your spelling words. So we had 5 and let's get started. The first word is mention. Don't mention my name in your letter. Mention. The second word is medicine. My friend studied medicine at university. Medicine. The third word is minute. 1 minute equals to 60 seconds. Minute. Fourth word, natural. She was a natural performer. Natural. Fifth word, naughty. His dog was very naughty. Naughty. Well done. I'll go through the words one more time so that you can double check that you got the spellings correct. Mention, medicine, minute, natural, and naughty. Well done. Let's go through the spellings right now. Now you can pause this section and check that you got your spellings correct, and if you got some of them wrong, that's fine. You can just take your time to write them out a few times and practice them. Well done. Let's move on. Now there's something very exciting. Your adults should have received an email about a spelling challenge that you can take part in. So in this challenge, when you go on the website, you'll practice and learn spellings aimed at your age group. So there'll be games, short tasks, and quizzes for you to complete. And after you've completed a game or a task or a quiz, you'll earn spelling points, which will be added to your account. And this will be shown on a leaderboard where the whole class can see. And every week, the top 5 scores from each class will be announced. This is very exciting. So definitely ask your adults if they received the email so that you can get your usernames and login details so you can email english@grange.harrow.sch.uk for your login and password details so that you can practice your spellings. Excellent. Let's move on. So the spellings to learn for next week are history, famous, remember, special, and rain. Now, if you don't know the definition for any of these words, you can use a dictionary to find it out, and you can write it out so that you can remember what it means. Excellent. So, as discussed, we're going to be learning about formal and informal language. Formal language is used for more official and serious purposes. Correct grammar and standard English should always be used. Informal language is used for more casual and less serious purposes. Slang words, so slang stands for short language, and chatty language can be used. You can pause this section and tell your adults the difference between formal and informal language. Excellent. When can we use formal language? Formal language is used when talking or writing to someone we don't know, or it can be used in writing non-fiction such as instructions, explanations, or reports. So non-chronological reports that we just went through yesterday, you use formal language when you're writing them and when you're writing formal letters. Informal language is used when we're talking or writing to someone we know very well, or writing letters to friends and close family, and writing emails and texts to people that we know. So formal and informal language should be used for different purposes. I want you to take a look at these over here, and can you decide which sort of language you should use in the following situations, formal or informal? So I want you to pause this section and take your time to look at them and then write it down. So it's talking to friends, talking to the head teacher, writing a job application, sending a text to a friend, writing a letter to Gran, and writing a letter to the Queen. So I want you to write this down. In which situation would you use formal language, and in which situation would you use informal language? Good work, everyone. Let's go through the answers. So when you're talking to your friends, you use informal language. When you're writing a job application, you're using formal languages because it's something very serious when you're applying for a job, so you want to use standard English. Informal language when you're writing a letter to Gran, because usually your Gran is someone who's very close to you. Formal language when you're talking to the head teacher. Informal when you're sending a text to a friend, because as previously mentioned, your friends are usually someone who are very close to you. And formal language when you're writing a letter to the Queen. Good job, everyone. So I want you to talk to your adult or your sibling and decide which of the following are features of formal language and which are features of informal language. So uses correct grammar and punctuation, can use contractions and abbreviations, it's the contractions, or TV. This is an abbreviation because it's shortened or something. Uses a chatty tone, uses a serious tone, uses correct vocabulary, and can use text, language, and slang. Good job, so we can go through it. Uses correct grammar and punctuation are features of formal language. Uses a serious tone are features of formal language. Can use contractions and abbreviations are features of informal language. So we wouldn't say, if you're writing formally, you wouldn't say it's, you would say it is, or TV, it stands for television. So this is informal. Uses a chatty tone, informal. Uses correct vocabulary, formal, and can use text, language, and slang is informal. Well done if you got those correct. Now I want you to take a look at this formal and informal vocabulary. So over here in this column we have formal vocabulary, imagine, wonderful, we have, as soon as possible, are not, thank you, and tomorrow. And in this column, the blue column, we have informal vocabulary, tar, ain't, ASAP, reckon, wicked, tomorrow's, we've. Now I want you to match the formal language with the informal language. So I'll do an example for you. As soon as possible is the formal language, and I matched it to ASAP, which was the informal language. So they both mean the same thing, but one of them uses formal language, the other is informal language. Now I want you to pause this section and write it down and do the rest yourself, and then we can go through the answers. Good job, everyone. Let's go through the answers. Thank you is the formal language, tar, informal, imagine, formal, reckon, informal, wonderful, formal, wicked, informal, we have, formal, we've, informal, because remember this is using the contractions, which are the features of informal language, are not, formal, ain't, informal, and tomorrow, formal, and tomorrow's, informal. Well done, everyone. This is some more vocabulary, formal vocabulary and informal vocabulary that you can look through. So I want you to pause this section and look through it. So you have formal vocabulary, for example, you say inquire, but the informal would be ask. So you can say, I would like to inquire about your books on history, for example. And over here, informal would be, I would like to ask about your books. Or let's see which one. Did you receive your certificate? Formal. Or did you get your certificate? That would be informal. So I want you to take your time. I'll read it out for you. Inquire, request, reserve, verify, receive, provide, assist, oppose, apologize, give my regards to, inform. Informal would be ask, ask for, book, check, get, give, help, go against, say sorry, say hello to, and tell. Excellent. Let's move on. So now I want you to read the following emails and decide whether they are formal or informal, and think about the features that we just discussed. Well done. I hope you read that out loudly as well, because it's really important to read fluently and develop our reading skills. I'll also read it out. Dear Sir, Madam, I am writing to inform you of my upset when I opened the lucky dip bag I had recently purchased with my own pocket money. I was disappointed to find that my favourite toy brand had been replaced with an inadequate copy, which even had pieces missing. I shall expect to be fully compensated for the distress and inconvenience this experience has caused me, and hope that you send a replacement promptly. Yours sincerely, Miss F. James. That was the first email. The second email. Hi Kerry, you know the lucky dip bag I bought when we went to town yesterday? Well, you'll never believe what happened when I opened it. There was a broken copy of the toy instead of the real thing. I was so shocked and annoyed that I've emailed the company to tell them what I think. I hope they send me a new one ASAP so I can complete the set. Was your pack okay? I hope so. See you soon, Frankie. So I hope that you listen to the tone of my voice as well when reading out the emails. Now, the first email was using formal language and the second email was using informal language, and the features are highlighted so that you can see Dear Sir, Madam, use this in formal emails. Hi Kerry, informal, and in this informal email, Frankie used Kerry's name because Kerry is a close friend of hers, so she addressed her by her name, whereas in this formal email, we don't know the name of the person, so we say Dear Sir or Madam. And how Frankie started the email with, you know, whereas in this formal letter is, I am writing to inform you. What other? Shocked and annoyed, also informal. I was disappointed to find, and over here there's you'll and I've. There's contractions here, and remember these contractions are used only when we're writing informally. Inadequate, formal. I shall expect to be fully compensated, whereas over here Frankie said, I hope they send me a new one. And ASAP, informal, because we know what it really stands for, as soon as possible. Distress and inconvenience, all formal language. And at the end, how they signed off the email, yours sincerely, Miss F. James. Again, yours sincerely is when you write a formal letter. Miss F. James, it's the full name of the person. Whereas over here, Frankie just said, see you soon, Frankie. Frankie is probably a nickname. And over here you can tell which email, this formal email, there's a serious tone to it, whereas this informal email, how it's written, it's not so serious. So you have to think about the person they're also addressing. Well done, everyone. Okay, now let's see if you can distinguish whether these sentences are formal or informal. That film was sick. I regret to inform you that the swimming pool is now closed. The managing director requests that everyone arrives for the meeting at 9 a.m. prompt. What do you think? We were just hanging out in the park. Now take a moment to read these sentences again, write it down, and tell me which one was formal and which one was informal. Excellent. Let's go through the answers. First one, informal. That film was thick. We don't use this in formal language, so it's informal. I regret to inform you that the swimming pool is now closed. Formal language. I regret to inform you. Or using formal vocabulary. The managing director requests that everyone arrives at their meeting at 9 a.m. prompt. These are all formal vocabulary. What do you think? Informal, we don't use contractions in formal language. We were just hanging out in the park. Informal, hanging out is informal vocabulary. Well done if you got those correct. Now I want you to write these informal sentences in a more formal style. So I want you to really take your time with this. I'm sure your journey is gonna be brilliant. What you doing? He puked all over the floor. Thanks for coming over. My sister is a pain in the neck. Okay, let's go through the sentences. So for the first one, you could say, I am sure. Remember, these are contractions and we don't use that in formal language. Your journey is going to be brilliant. So gonna is informal, going to be brilliant. So you can look at the phrases and words that are highlighted in red to see the differences. What you're doing? What are you doing? He puked all over the floor. He vomited all over the floor. Thanks for coming over. Thank you for coming over. My sister is a pain in the neck. Okay, my sister annoys me. Now, your task. You will have this letter which will be uploaded on the Year 4 online learning platform, and I want you to read through it and circle the formal language. So let's read through it together once. You can say, for example, dear, hello, sir, or madam. Now you have to circle which one of these are formal vocabulary. So I'll do the first one with you. Dear. Hello is informal, and then you can do the rest yourself. So you can either print it out, or if you don't have it printed, that's absolutely fine. You can copy this down in your exercise books, and that way you'll also be practicing your handwriting skills. So don't just write down the correct answer. Don't just write dear and so forth. I want you to write down the whole letter, and at the end you sign with your name. So that's your first task. And your second activity will be the purple pen activity. You have to write 5 of your own sentences using formal language. So you can go through to the previous slides as well to see some examples of formal languages and write any 5 sentences you wish. And this will all help us when we're writing our non-chronological report in our future lessons. Well done everyone, and see you, and remember to practice your spellings, and see you in our next lesson. And once you're done, take a picture of your work and email it over to year4@grange.harrow.sch.uk.